I found the paternity test on my daughter's wedding day, the day I was supposed to walk her down the aisle. She wasn't mine. The envelope sat in Catherine's jewelry box, tucked between her grandmother's pearls and the diamond earrings I'd given her for our 25th anniversary. Gene Trust Labs, heavy paper stock, embossed logo. The seal was already broken. I pulled out the document with hands that didn't feel like my own. Probability of paternity, 0.0%. 0.0%. But the wedding starts in 2 hours. I stand there in our bedroom, still wearing my undershirt and dress pants, the paper trembling between my fingers. Downstairs, I can hear the caterers setting up. Someone laughs, probably Catherine's sister. The florist is asking about the centerpieces. Outside, the tent company is hammering stakes into our lawn for 200 guests who think they're about to watch me give away my daughter. My daughter. Emma has my eyes. Everyone says so. She has my stubbornness, my terrible sense of direction, my habit of humming when she's concentrating. She has the same crooked smile I had in my high school photos. How is that possible when we share zero DNA? I read the document again. Client name, Catherine Miller. Test date, 3 weeks ago. Sample A, Catherine Miller, mother. Sample B, Robert Miller, alleged father. Sample C, Emma Grace Miller, child. 3 weeks ago, while we were addressing wedding invitations together at the kitchen table, while Catherine was asking me if I thought the salmon or the chicken would be better for the reception, while I was walking Emma down the practice aisle at the venue, both of us laughing because she kept stepping on my feet. The paper smells like printer toner, still fresh. I turn to the second page. There's a note in Catherine's handwriting in the margin. Keep with insurance documents. Insurance. I close the envelope. Put it back exactly where I found it, between the pearls and the diamonds. My hands are steadier now. That's the thing about shock. After the first wave, your body goes numb. Protective shutdown. I learned that in the Army, a lifetime ago, when we trained for scenarios you hoped would never happen. I finish getting dressed, black tuxedo, ivory tie to match Emma's request. The bow tie takes 3 attempts because my fingers won't cooperate. In the mirror, I look exactly like I did yesterday. Same gray at the temples, same lines around the eyes from smiling at Emma for 28 years. 28 years of being her father. Downstairs, Catherine is directing traffic. She's wearing her mother of the bride dress, champagne-colored, her hair already done. She sees me on the stairs and smiles. That smile I fell in love with in college when she was 20 and I was 22, and we thought we knew everything about forever. You look handsome, she says, straightening my tie. Her hands are cool, steady. Emma's almost ready. Are you ready? I look at her, really look at her, searching for something, guilt, fear, acknowledgement, anything. She just smiles. I'm ready, I say. Before I go to Emma's room, I stop by my study. The baby album is on the shelf where it's always been. Dark blue leather, Emma's name embossed in gold. Catherine made it the year Emma was born. I open it. The first page, Emma, 2 days old. In my arms at the hospital. I'm looking at her like she's made of starlight. There's a caption in Catherine's handwriting. Robert and his little girl, instant love. Next page, Emma at 3 months, first smile. My handwriting this time, in the margin, first real smile, 11:47 a.m., September 14th. She was looking at me. I flip through slowly. First steps, into Daddy's arms, naturally. First word, Dada. First day of kindergarten. I'm kneeling beside her, both of us grinning at the camera. First dance recital, first broken arm. I'm the one holding her in the ER. First day of high school, first heartbreak. There's a photo I took of her crying on the couch, and I wrote underneath, "We watched Pride and Prejudice 3 times. Ice cream helped. Being dad helped more." Every milestone, every moment. My handwriting documents a father watching his daughter grow. I closed the album. Everything I wrote was true, just not in the way I thought. If you've ever had a single moment split your life into before and after, you'll understand what happened next. 1 second, I was a father getting ready for his daughter's wedding. The next, I was a man holding evidence of a lie so big it swallowed my entire past. But Emma was calling my name. The wedding ceremony is perfect. Of course it is. Catherine planned it for 14 months. I stand at the back of the tent with Emma, her arm linked through mine. She's wearing her mother's veil, the one Catherine wore when we got married 30 years ago. The irony would be funny if I could feel anything except the weight of the envelope upstairs. "Dad," Emma whispers, "you okay? You're quiet." I look at her. My daughter, my little girl, who used to fall asleep on my chest, who made me watch Frozen 47 times, who called me sobbing from college when her first serious boyfriend broke her heart, who asked me 6 months ago to walk her down this aisle. "Just trying not to cry," I say. She squeezes my arm. "You're allowed to cry. I'm crying." The music starts. Pachelbel's Canon. We practiced this walk a dozen times, but now my legs feel like they're moving through water. 200 faces turn toward us. Catherine is in the front row, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief. Emma's fiancé, Mark, good man, steady job, loves her completely, is standing at the altar, grinning like he won the lottery. I walk my daughter down the aisle. Every step is a choice. I could stop. I could tell everyone what I found. I could burn it all down right now, turn this wedding into a crime scene of truth. But I look at Emma's face, radiant and happy and sure, and I keep walking. We reach the altar. The minister smiles at us. He's known Emma since she was baptized. He says the traditional words, "Who gives this woman to be married to this man?" My line, rehearsed, simple. I open my mouth. The envelope is upstairs. The test results are clinical and certain, 0% probability. 28 years of fatherhood built on a foundation of, what? Deception, accident, intention. Her mother and I do, I say. Emma kisses my cheek. I sit down next to Catherine. She takes my hand, laces our fingers together. Her palm is warm, familiar. I've held this hand for 30 years. When the minister says, "Speak now or forever hold your peace," Catherine's hand tightens on mine, just for a second. A fraction of pressure. She knows what I know. I make it through the ceremony, the vows, the rings, the kiss, the recessional. I even smile for the family photos. Emma between Catherine and me. All of us posed like we're selling the American dream. Then the reception starts, and I tell Catherine I need to talk to her. "Now," she says, "Robert, we have 200 guests. Now," something in my voice makes her stop smiling. She follows me into the country club's bathroom. It's empty, decorated with flowers and fancy hand towels. I lock the door. I pull out my phone, show her the photo I took of the test results. She goes very still, not surprised, not confused, just still. "When did you find it?" she asks. Not, "What is this?" Not, "I can explain." Just, "When did you find it?" "This morning," I say. "In your jewelry box." She looks at the screen, at the numbers that destroy everything. Then she looks at me, and I see her calculating, deciding which story to tell, which version of Catherine to perform. "Robert, don't," I say. The word comes out hard. Just don't. Not here, not today. I will get through this wedding for Emma. You will get through this wedding for Emma. And then you're going to tell me everything. Every single thing. Do you understand? She nods. "But I need to know one thing right now," I say. My voice is shaking. I can't stop it. "Did you know when you married me? When you got pregnant? Did you know she might not be mine?" Catherine looks at me for a long moment. Outside, I can hear the band starting up. Someone is giving a toast. People are laughing. "I didn't know for sure," she says quietly. "Not until 3 weeks ago. I feel something crack in my chest." "But you suspected." She doesn't answer. That's answer enough. "How many?" I ask. "How many men could be her father?" She closes her eyes. "Catherine, how many?" "5, she whispers. "Not an accident, not a mistake, not one time. 5 men, Catherine, 5. I don't remember most of the reception. I smile. I dance with Emma. I give my father of the bride speech. I wrote it 3 months ago, back when I still knew who I was. Everyone laughs in the right places. Catherine cries during the mother-daughter dance. It's all very touching. Mark's father pulls me aside at one point. "You did good, Robert," he says, clapping my shoulder. "She's a hell of a young woman. You raised her right." "Thank you," I say automatically. "You raised her right. I did raise her. Every scraped knee, every bad dream, every science project, every driving lesson, every college application, every moment of her becoming the person she is. That was real. That happened. That's mine. But the biology, the DNA, the blood, the genetic inheritance that's supposed to make her mine, that belongs to someone else. One of 5 men. The wedding ends at 11. Emma and Mark leave in a shower of rice and sparklers. Catherine and I stand on the steps of the country club, waving, playing the happy parents one last time. Then we go home. I don't go straight home. I tell Catherine I need to stop by the bank. The bank? Robert, it's almost midnight. The 24-hour access, I say. Our safe deposit box. Her face changes. Robert, you said you'd tell me everything. Let's start with what you've been hiding. We drive in silence. The bank is empty except for security. I sign in, get the key, and Catherine has no choice but to follow me into the vault. Our box is large. We've had it for years. Important documents, I thought. Birth certificates, the deed to the house, my father's military medals. I open it. On top, a stack of letters tied with a ribbon. I recognize the paper immediately. Expensive stationery, cream-colored, the kind Catherine uses for thank you notes. I untie the ribbon. The letters aren't to me. My darling David, the first one starts. I can't stop thinking about last weekend. It's dated April 1996, the month before Emma was born. I flip to the next letter, June 1997, then September 1998. I keep going. The dates span 28 years. The most recent letter is dated 3 weeks ago, right around when Catherine ordered that paternity test. I know we said we'd stop, but I can't. I won't. Robert doesn't understand me the way you do. The paper smells like cedar and dust. Her handwriting, those same loops she uses on anniversary cards, on Emma's birthday cards, on the note she left me this morning telling me she loved me, forming someone else's name over and over. I set the letters aside. Underneath, bank statements from an account I've never seen. Monthly withdrawals to DM, $500 every month for 28 years. I do the math in my head. $168,000. Who is DM? I ask. Catherine's face is white. David Morrison. The name means nothing to me. Who is he? Someone I knew before we met, she says. Someone I saw again after Emma was born. For 28 years. She doesn't deny it. I keep digging. There's more. A second phone. One of those burner types. Records showing another number she's been calling regularly. Hotel receipts. Photos I've never seen. Catherine with men I don't recognize. At places we've never been together. At the very bottom, a journal. Catherine's handwriting again, but raw, unfiltered. I flip it open to a random page. January 2003. Robert asked today if I was happy. I said yes because I am. I love our life. I love Emma. I even love him in a way. He's safe, stable, exactly what a husband should be. But David makes me feel alive. Marcus makes me feel beautiful. And the others? They each give me something Robert can't. Why should I have to choose? The last letter was dated 3 weeks ago. This wasn't the past. This was still happening. We get home at 2 a.m. The house is dark except for one light. I left it on in my study, where the baby album is still sitting on the desk. Catherine tries to speak, but I hold up my hand. Tomorrow, I say. Tomorrow we're going to sit down with Emma and Mark. You're going to tell her the truth, all of it. And then we're going to figure out what happens next. Robert, please, we don't have to tell her. She doesn't need to know. She has a right to know. It'll destroy her. No, I say quietly. It'll destroy you. That's what you're afraid of. Catherine starts crying. Real tears, the kind she used to cry when we fought early in our marriage, before she learned how to weaponize emotion. But I'm not the same man I was this morning. Go to bed, Catherine, I say. We'll talk tomorrow. She hesitates, then goes upstairs. I hear our bedroom door close. I sit in my study with the baby album open on my lap. Emma, 2 days old. Emma, first smile. Emma, first steps. The photos don't lie. The love in those pictures is real. The father in those photos loved his daughter completely. He just didn't know she'd chosen someone else first, or rather, that someone else had chosen for both of them. I call Emma the next morning. She and Mark are supposed to leave for their honeymoon, 2 weeks in Italy, my wedding gift to them. Dad, she says, what's wrong? You sound weird. I need to talk to you, I say. You and Mark, before you leave. Is Mom okay? Are you okay? Just come over, please. They arrive an hour later. Emma is still glowing from the wedding, still wearing the happiness like a dress. Mark carries coffee for everyone. He's thoughtful like that. They sit on the couch across from me. Catherine sits beside me, silent. Dad, you're scaring me, Emma says. I pull out the test results, the letters, the photo of Emma's drawing from when she was 5. My dad is the best, purple crayon hearts all around the border. I found it in the album last night, tucked between pages. 3 weeks ago, I say, your mother took a DNA test. She tested you, and she tested me. Emma looks confused. Why would she? Because she wasn't sure I was your biological father. The room goes silent. Mark's hand finds Emma's. Catherine stares at her lap. What? Emma's voice is very small. I hand her the test results. She reads them. Mark reads over her shoulder. I watch my daughter's face as she processes the numbers. 0% probability of paternity. I don't understand, she says. This has to be wrong. They make mistakes. It's not wrong, Catherine says quietly. I had an affair, multiple affairs, before you were born and after. I didn't know for sure who your biological father was until I took that test. Emma looks at her mother like she's never seen her before. Then she looks at me. I hand her the drawing, the one she made when she was 5, her kindergarten masterpiece. My dad is the best. Construction paper yellowed at the edges. One heart smudged where she cried fixing a mistake. I remember that day. She'd gotten frustrated and started crying, and I helped her draw a new heart to cover the smudged one. Emma holds the drawing with shaking hands. She looks at the test results, at the drawing, at me. Dad, she says, that one word holds everything. Question, fear, hope. I stand up, walk over to her, kneel down in front of the couch so we're eye level. You're my daughter, I say. You have always been my daughter. Biology is that's just biology. I chose to stay every single day. Your mother didn't give me that choice, but you're giving it to me now. So I'm choosing. I choose you. Again. Emma drops the papers and wraps her arms around me. She's crying, and I'm crying, and Mark is crying, and Catherine is crying in the corner, but her tears are different. Emma pulls back, looks me in the eyes. You're my father, she says fiercely. I don't care what any test says. You're the one who taught me to ride a bike. You're the one who sat through every terrible school play. You're the one who drove me to college and helped me move into my dorm and called me every Sunday to make sure I was eating vegetables. You're my dad. That's not biology. That's love. That's choice. She takes my hand. Then she looks at Catherine. Who is he? Emma asks. My biological father. Who is he? Catherine hesitates. I don't know for certain. There were 5 possibilities. Emma's grip on my hand tightens. 5, she repeats. You had sex with 5 different men around the time I was conceived, and you just... What? Hoped for the best? Emma, it was complicated. No. Emma cuts her off. No, it's actually very simple. You cheated on Dad, you got pregnant, you lied about it for 28 years, and you would have kept lying if Dad hadn't found that test. That's not complicated. That's just cruel. Mark speaks up for the first time. Emma, maybe we should... Should what? Should pretend this is okay? Should pretend my entire life isn't built on a lie? She turns back to Catherine. Does he know? Whichever one of the 5 is my biological father. Does he know I exist? One of them does, Catherine admits. David Morrison. He's been in my life. He's been paying child support. He thinks you're his. Emma stands up abruptly. I need air. She walks out onto the porch. Mark follows her. Through the window I can see them talking. Emma's hands moving emphatically. Mark just listening. I look at Catherine. I'm going to find them, I say. All 5 men. I'm going to find out which one is her biological father, and I'm going to get answers. And then I'm going to decide what to do about this marriage. Robert, 30 years, Catherine. 30 years of lying to my face every single day. 30 years of taking money from another man. 30 years of making me believe in something that wasn't real. Our marriage was real, she says desperately. Was it? I ask. Because I don't even know who you are anymore. Emma comes back inside. Her eyes are red but clear. I want to know the truth, she says. I want to know who my biological father is. Not because I think it'll change anything. You're my dad, period. But because I deserve to know where I came from. She looks at Catherine. And then I want you to tell me why. Why you did this. Why you kept doing it. Why you were okay with lying to both of us for my entire life. Catherine opens her mouth, but no words come out. That's what I thought, Emma says softly. She takes my hand again and Mark's hand. Dad, whatever you need from me, testimony, evidence, support. I'm here. I choose you. I will always choose you. The investigation takes 3 days. 3 days of Emma and Mark postponing their honeymoon. 3 days of me barely sleeping, sitting at my computer, cross-referencing names from Catherine's letters with phone records, bank statements, old photographs. 3 days of building a case like I'm preparing for war. Because that's what this is. A war for truth. Catherine gives me the names. She doesn't have a choice. Emma demands it. And for once, Catherine's manipulation tactics don't work on our daughter. 5 men, David Morrison, Marcus Chen, Dr. Harrison Reed, James Collier, Anthony Brennan. I write them down in a notebook, numbering them 1 through 5. Then I start digging. Man number 1, David Morrison, age 56, lives 2 towns over in Greenfield, works as an architect. Married for 20 years, not to Catherine, obviously. Has 2 kids with his wife. Those kids have no idea they might have a half-sister. The bank statements show he's been sending Catherine $500 every single month since June 1997, 2 months after Emma was born. I do the math again. 28 years, 12 months a year, $500 a month. $168,000. I find his office address online, drive over during my lunch break, park across the street and watch him through the window of his architecture firm. He's tall, dark hair going gray, athletic build. He's showing blueprints to a client, smiling, gesturing with his hands. Emma doesn't look anything like him, but DNA doesn't care about appearances. I don't go inside, not yet. I take photos with my phone, his office, his car, his license plate. Evidence, documentation. I learned in the Army, build the case before you engage. Man number 2, Marcus Chen. This one stings differently. Marcus is someone I know. Not well, but we've been at the same charity fundraisers, the same community events. He owns a chain of restaurants in the area. Successful, charismatic. The kind of guy who works a room effortlessly. I find photos of him and Catherine from 1998. At a gallery opening, at a restaurant opening, always with groups of people so it never looks suspicious. But now I know what I'm seeing. The way he's standing just a little too close to her. The way she's laughing at something he said. I check his social media. He's married too. 3 kids, happy family photos. His wife tags him in posts about their anniversary, their vacations, their perfect life. Does she know her husband was sleeping with my wife? Does she know he might be Emma's father? I screenshot everything, add it to the file. Man number 3, Dr. Harrison Reed. This one makes me physically sick. Dr. Reed was Emma's pediatrician from age 2 through 16. Every checkup, every vaccination, every time she was sick and I sat in his office, worried, asking if she was okay, he was examining her, taking her medical history, writing prescriptions, knowing he might be her father. I pull Emma's medical records. I have copies. I'm meticulous about that kind of thing. I spread them out on my desk and read through them with new eyes. Every visit, Dr. Reed wrote detailed notes, height, weight, development milestones. There's one note from when Emma was 7. Patient shows strong verbal skills and creative thinking, advanced for age group. Did he write that as her doctor? Or as a man wondering if he was seeing his own genetics at work? I find the letters Catherine wrote to him. They're different from the ones to David, more intellectual, philosophical. She talks about art, about books, about feeling understood. One letter from 2004 mentions Emma directly. She's so bright, Harrison. Sometimes I look at her and wonder if she got that from you. Robert is smart, but not like this. Not curious about everything the way she is. She was comparing us, comparing me to her lovers while I was at home, helping Emma with her homework. I have to stop reading. My hands are shaking too hard to hold the paper. Man number 4. James Collier, real estate developer, never married. No kids, at least none that he knows about. The letters to him were the shortest, purely physical, no pretense of emotional connection. Catherine met him at the gym we used to belong to. Their affair was brief, early 1996, right around Emma's conception window. I find one receipt from a hotel, February 14th, 1996, Valentine's Day. I was home that day. I remember because I'd planned a surprise dinner for Catherine, bought her flowers, the whole romantic gesture. She called and said she had to work late, some emergency at her office. I ate dinner alone, put the flowers in a vase, went to bed early. She was at the Hilton with James Collier. I add the receipt to the file. Man number 5, Anthony Brennan. This one's harder to track. The name appears in Catherine's journal, but there are no letters, no photos, no obvious trail. Just scattered references to Tony and late nights, and the thrill of something dangerous. I run background checks, find 3 Anthony Brennans in our area, start eliminating. The third one is a match. Age 54, divorced, works in finance. I find one piece of evidence, a piece of jewelry in Catherine's safe deposit box, a bracelet with an engraving, 2C from T, always yours. Dated, March 1996. Emma was born April 1997. Conception would have been around July 1996. I photographed the bracelet. The engraving is worn but legible. Catherine bought each of them something, I realize. Matching jewelry, like she was collecting tokens of her deception. Here's my question for you. If you were in my position, if you just discovered your entire family was built on lies, would you want to keep digging, or would you want to stop before you found more pain? There's no wrong answer. I kept digging. Maybe that was my mistake. 3 days of investigation, and I have files on all 5 men. Photos, financial records, letters, evidence of a pattern so calculated it's almost impressive. No guilt, no shame, no remorse, just calculation. Catherine wasn't having affairs out of passion or unhappiness. She was building a portfolio, diversifying her options, keeping backup plans in case I ever figured it out, or she needed something I couldn't provide. Man number 4, David Morrison, had been sending Catherine $500 monthly for 28 years. He thought Emma was his. I take everything to a lawyer, not just any lawyer, Marcus Brennan, my college roommate's father. 70 years old, sharp as a razor, seen everything in 45 years of practice. His office smells like leather and old books. He sits across from me, reading through my file, occasionally making notes. Finally, he looks up. "Robert," he says carefully, "you have documentation of extensive adultery, financial fraud. She was accepting child support under false pretenses from at least one man. Identity fraud on legal documents, and potential inheritance implications. You could take her for everything, the house, the savings, her business. You could file criminal charges for the financial fraud. You could destroy her. But," I say because I hear it in his voice, "but you have to ask yourself what you want the outcome to be. Revenge, justice, closure. Those are different things, and they require different strategies." I look down at my hands. I want the truth to mean something. I want there to be consequences for what she did, not just to me, but to Emma, to David Morrison, to whoever Emma's biological father is. And Emma, what does she want? She wants to know who her biological father is. She wants her mother to be held accountable, but she doesn't want to destroy her own family in the process. Marcus nods slowly. He pulls out a legal pad and starts writing. "Here's what I recommend. We file for divorce on grounds of adultery and fraud. We pursue full financial restitution for the money Catherine embezzled, because that's what those transfers to her account were, Robert. She was taking from your joint assets to fund her affairs. We order paternity tests for all 5 men to establish biological parentage, and we prepare for depositions." He looks at me seriously. "This will get ugly. Catherine will hire her own lawyer. She'll try to control the narrative, make herself the victim. Are you prepared for that?" I think about the envelope upstairs, about the wedding where I smiled and danced and gave a speech while knowing everything was a lie, about Emma's face when she chose me anyway. "I'm prepared," I say. Marcus makes a note. "One more thing. Once we start legal proceedings, this becomes public record. Your friends, your colleagues, your community, everyone will know. Are you ready for that?" I remember Catherine's hand tightening on mine during the wedding ceremony. She knew I knew, and she still smiled for the cameras, still played the role of devoted wife and mother. She'd been managing the narrative for years, building my reputation as stable, maybe a little controlling, definitely lucky to have her. Insurance just in case. Let them know, I say. I'm done protecting her secrets. Marcus nods. Then let's build the case. That night, I can't sleep. I get up at 2 a.m., go to my study, open my laptop. I'm looking for something. I'm not sure what. More evidence, more pain, some explanation that makes sense of 30 years. I find her email instead. Catherine never deletes anything. I know her password. We shared them years ago, back when we trusted each other. I log into her account. There are thousands of emails. I start sorting by keywords: Robert, Emma, worried, controlling. A group thread appears, 12 women, Catherine's book club. Been meeting monthly for 15 years. I start reading. March 2019. Catherine. Robert's been asking questions about my schedule again. I swear he tracks every minute I'm out of the house. Linda. That's concerning. Does he check your phone? Catherine. Not yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. He's always been a little paranoid. June 2021. Catherine. Had a long talk with Robert about trust last night. He wants to know why I need time alone, why I can't include him in everything. It's exhausting. Patricia. That's emotional manipulation, hun. You're allowed to have your own life. Catherine. I know. I just wish he understood that. October 2024. Catherine. Robert's been acting strange since I mentioned taking a yoga retreat. Almost jealous. After 30 years, you'd think he'd trust me by now. Margaret. Some men never change. Just be careful. I read through years of emails. Catherine building a case against me. Robert the jealous husband. Robert the controlling one. Robert who doesn't understand her needs. She'd been poisoning the well for years. Preparing for the day when the truth might come out. When she'd need allies who believed her version. That I was the problem, not her infidelity. Insurance. She'd been building my reputation as the villain for 3 decades. Insurance. I forward the email thread to my lawyer. Then I keep digging. I find messages to David Morrison, recent ones, from last month. Catherine. He's getting suspicious. I might need to tell him soon. David. Tell him what? About us? About Emma? Catherine. Just about us. Not about Emma. Never about Emma. David. When can I meet her? It's been 28 years, see. I've been paying for her life. I deserve to know my daughter. Catherine. You know we can't do that. Robert would never understand. David. Robert doesn't have to understand. She's my daughter. I sit back in my chair. David Morrison believes Emma is his. Has believed it for 28 years. Has been sending money faithfully. Has been hoping for a chance to know her. And Catherine just took his money and kept him at arm's length. She didn't just steal my fatherhood, she stole his too. The depositions start 2 weeks later. Catherine's lawyer is good, expensive suit, Harvard degree, the kind of smooth operator who makes adultery sound like personal growth. They sit across from Marcus and me in a sterile conference room with bad coffee and a court reporter documenting every word. Catherine is wearing pearls, the same ones from the jewelry box where I found the test results. She's composed, controlled, her hands folded primly in her lap. Marcus starts with the easy questions, confirms names, dates, basic facts. Then he slides the bank statements across the table. Mrs. Miller, can you explain these monthly transfers of $500 to David Morrison? Catherine's lawyer jumps in. My client was helping an old friend during a difficult financial period. For 28 years, Marcus interrupts. That's quite a difficult period. He pulls out more evidence. The letters, the hotel receipts, the journal entries where Catherine documented each affair in clinical detail. Catherine's composure cracks slightly. Her lawyer keeps interjecting, but the evidence speaks for itself. Then Marcus plays the recording. I'd found it in the safe deposit box, an old mini cassette, labeled in Catherine's handwriting, Girls' Night, 1997. I'd had it digitized, cleaned up the audio. Catherine's voice, young and bright, laughing with a friend at a restaurant. Background noise, forks on plates, other conversations. Friend. So Robert's totally smitten with Emma, huh? Catherine, laughing. Oh God, completely. He's convinced she has his eyes. It's actually kind of sweet. Friend, does she have his eyes? Catherine, pause, then laughing harder. How would I know? Robert's probably not even the father. God, wouldn't that be perfect? He'll never know. The laughter on the tape continues, light and carefree and cruel. In the conference room, the recording ends. The silence is absolute. Catherine's face is white. Her lawyer is writing furiously on a legal pad. Marcus leans forward. Mrs. Miller, you've been accepting child support from David Morrison for 28 years while maintaining the legal fiction that Robert Miller was Emma's biological father. You've been conducting multiple affairs throughout your marriage, and this recording suggests you've been knowingly deceiving your husband about paternity since at least 1997. Is that accurate? Catherine's lawyer puts a hand on her arm. Don't answer that. But Catherine is staring at the recorder, at the machine that just played back her own words, her own laugh. That laugh I'd loved for 30 years, now sounding like broken glass. The next deposition is David Morrison. Marcus subpoenas him. David shows up with his own lawyer, confused and defensive. He's taller than I expected, well-dressed, nervous. He won't look at me. Marcus is gentle with him at first, establishes the timeline of the affair, the payments, the letters Catherine wrote promising him he was Emma's father. Then, Marcus asks the question that changes everything. Mr. Morrison, did Catherine Miller ever allow you to meet Emma? David's face crumples. No, never. I asked so many times. I wanted to be in her life. I wanted to teach her things, to know her. Catherine always said it was too complicated, that Robert would never understand, that we needed to wait for the right time. For 28 years you waited. I kept hoping, I kept paying. I thought eventually Catherine would let me in, that Emma would want to know me. Marcus slides a document across the table. The DNA test results. Emma's biological markers compared to David's, pulled from a sample we'd obtained through legal channels. Mr. Morrison, these results indicate a 99.7% probability that you are Emma Miller's biological father. David Morrison starts crying, not quiet tears, deep, shaking sobs. 28 years of grief pouring out in a sterile conference room. I would have loved her, he says through the tears. I would have taught her to fish, to appreciate architecture, to believe in herself. Catherine took that from me. She took my daughter and my money, and she left me with nothing but lies and envelopes and promises she never kept. He looks at me for the first time. His eyes are red and desperate. But you, Robert, you gotta be her father. You gotta raise her, to know her, to be there for every moment. I don't hate you. I envy you more than anything in the world. Something breaks in me hearing that. This man, Emma's biological father, validating what I've been feeling. That fatherhood isn't about DNA. It's about showing up. It's about choice. After the deposition, David asks if he can speak to me privately. His lawyer advises against it, but David doesn't care. We sit in a coffee shop near the law office. Two men who should be enemies, drinking bad coffee and trying to make sense of the wreckage Catherine left behind. Does she know? David asks. Emma, does she know about me? She knows there were 5 possibilities, I say. Now we know it's you. Does she hate me? She doesn't know you, I say quietly. How can she hate you? You didn't know about her either, not really. Catherine kept you both in the dark. David nods slowly. He pulls something from his jacket pocket, a box. He opens it carefully. Inside are birthday cards, 28 of them, all addressed to Emma, all sealed, never sent. Each one signed, Love, David, with little notes, what he imagined telling her each year. Age 1, happy first birthday. I hope you're healthy and happy. I can't wait to meet you someday. Age 10, you're double digits now. I wonder if you like building things, like I do. Maybe we could build something together someday. Age 18, congratulations on graduating high school. I'm sure you're going to do amazing things. I wish I could be there to see it. Age 28, I heard you're getting married. I hope he's good to you. I hope you're happy. I've been waiting my whole life to tell you I'm your father, but maybe that time will never come. Maybe this is all I'll ever have. These cards I'll never send. But you should know. I've loved you every day of your life, even though we've never met. I can barely breathe. You wrote these every year? Every birthday, David says. I didn't know what else to do. Catherine wouldn't let me see her, wouldn't let me be part of her life. But I couldn't just not acknowledge her existence. So I wrote cards, bought them birthday cards, and just held on to them. He closes the box carefully. Do you think, would Emma want these? Or would it be too weird? I think about Emma, about the way she took my hand after learning the truth and said, "You're my father." I think Emma would want to know that someone else loved her too, I say, even if they couldn't show it. David's hands shake slightly as he holds the box. I didn't get a choice in being her father. Catherine made that choice for me, took it away from me. But you did. You chose her every day. That's worth more than biology. He looks at me seriously. I'm not trying to take her from you. I know I'm not her father, not in the ways that matter. But maybe there's room for both of us in her life, not as competing fathers, but as, I don't know, two men who both care about her. I don't answer right away. I think about the outline I've been building in my head, the clean narrative where I'm the victim, Catherine's the villain, and everyone else is just collateral damage. But David Morrison isn't collateral damage. He's another victim of Catherine's manipulation, another person who lost 28 years to her lies. I'll talk to Emma, I say finally. It's her choice. David nods, wipes his eyes. Thank you. We sit in silence for a moment. Then David says something that will stay with me forever. She chose deception every day for 30 years. Now you get to choose what kind of man you want to be. Don't let her turn you into something you're not. The forensic accountant's name is Patricia Chen, no relation to Marcus. She makes sure to clarify that immediately. She's been combing through 30 years of financial records for 3 weeks, and when she presents her findings, even my lawyer looks shocked. Patricia spreads the documents across the conference table like she's building a case for the prosecution, which, technically, she is. Mr. Miller, your wife has been systematically embezzling from your joint accounts and your business for 28 years. Here's how it worked. She pulls up a spreadsheet, color-coded, meticulously documented. First, the obvious. $500 monthly to David Morrison, $168,000 over 28 years. But that's just the beginning. She points to another column. Here's what I found when I dug deeper. Catherine set up a secondary account in 1997, shortly after Emma was born, using your business's tax ID. She funneled money through fake vendor invoices. Small amounts, never enough to trigger audits. $2,000 here, $3,000 there. Patricia's finger traces down the spreadsheet. The numbers blur together. 50,000, 80,000, 150,000. Total estimated amount embezzled from your business and joint accounts. $340,000. The room spins slightly. $340,000. She was funding her affairs with money from our business, I ask. From Emma's college fund? Patricia nods grimly. The college fund took the biggest hit. You deposited regularly. I can see your direct contributions. But Catherine made withdrawals that she disguised as educational expenses, hotels, jewelry, cash payments to various men. Some of that money should have gone to Emma's future. Instead, it went to maintaining 5 separate relationships. She pulls out another document. And here's the part that crosses into criminal fraud. Catherine filed taxes jointly with you for 30 years, but she never reported the payments from David Morrison as income. That's tax evasion. The IRS could pursue charges. Marcus leans back in his chair, whistling low. This isn't just a divorce case anymore. This is wire fraud, tax evasion, embezzlement. Catherine could face federal charges. I look at the spreadsheet. $340,000. Emma's inheritance. The business I built. The life I thought we were building together. She hadn't just stolen my fatherhood. She'd stolen Emma's inheritance, Emma's future. My lawyer said I could take everything. The question is, should you? Is revenge justice or just revenge? Drop a comment if you've ever had to choose between what you had the right to do and what was right to do. The trial doesn't take long. Catherine's lawyer tries every tactic. She was unhappy. She was confused. She was trapped in a loveless marriage. They paint me as cold, distant, emotionally unavailable. They suggest the affairs were a cry for help. Marcus dismantles each argument methodically. He presents the emails where Catherine called me controlling, then shows the context. Me asking reasonable questions about joint finances she was stealing from. He plays the recording of her laughing about paternity. He brings in witnesses who testify that I was a devoted husband and father. But the moment that changes everything, the moment the courtroom goes completely silent, is when Emma takes the stand. Emma chose to testify. I told her she didn't have to. Marcus told her she didn't have to. Even the judge offered her an out during the preliminary hearing, but Emma insisted. I need to say this, she told me the night before. Not for the court, for me. She wears a simple blue dress, no jewelry except her wedding ring. Her hair is pulled back. She looks young and old at the same time. My little girl, and a woman who's had to grow up too fast in the past few months. The judge asks her to state her name for the record. Emma Grace Miller, she says clearly, then she pauses. Miller, because that's who I am. That's who I've always been. Catherine's lawyer starts to object, but the judge waves him off. Let her speak. Emma takes a breath. She's holding something. I can't quite see what. Then she unfolds it and holds it up for the courtroom to see. The drawing? My dad is the best. Purple crayon hearts. Construction paper yellowed at the edges. I made this when I was 5, Emma says. I remember the day. I was in kindergarten, and we had an assignment to draw our heroes. Everyone else drew firefighters or astronauts or superheroes. I drew my dad. She looks at me. Her eyes are bright with tears, but her voice is steady. Robert Miller taught me to ride a bike. He sat through every terrible school play. And I mean terrible. I was a horrible actress. He drove me to college and helped me move into my dorm and called me every Sunday to make sure I was eating vegetables. He walked me down the aisle at my wedding, even though he just found out I wasn't biologically his. She turns to face Catherine. This woman, my mother, stole his right to know the truth. She stole David Morrison's right to know me. And she stole my right to grow up knowing where I really came from. Catherine is crying, mascara running down her face. It might be genuine. It might be performance. I can't tell anymore. Emma's voice gets stronger. Your Honor, I'd like to explain what a father actually is. It's not the man who contributed DNA. It's the man who sat through every fever, every heartbreak, every 3 a.m. nightmare. It's the man who chose to stay even when things got hard, even when he found out the foundation of his entire life was a lie. She holds up the drawing again. Biology didn't teach me to ride a bike. Love did. Biology didn't help me with algebra homework at midnight. Choice did. Biology didn't walk me down the aisle. My father did. Emma looks directly at the judge. Robert Miller is my father, not because of genetics, because he earned it. Every single day for 28 years, he earned it. This woman stole his choice to know the truth, but she can't steal what we built together. She can't steal the fact that I'm his daughter and he's my father. She sits down. The courtroom is silent. Someone in the back is crying. I think it's David Morrison, who came to watch the proceedings. Catherine's lawyer tries to redirect, tries to get Emma to admit her childhood was happy, that Catherine was a good mother. Emma just looks at him. She was a great mother, Emma says quietly. That's what makes this so much worse. She could have been honest. She could have told the truth. She could have let David Morrison know me. She could have given my dad the choice, but she didn't. She chose to lie. Every single day for 28 years, she chose deception. The judge calls a recess. We step outside. Emma collapses into my arms, shaking. Mark holds both of us. David Morrison approaches hesitantly. Emma, he says softly. That was incredibly brave. Emma pulls back from me, looks at David, really looks at him for the first time, searching his face for something, resemblance, recognition, connection. You wrote me birthday cards, she says. For 28 years, Dad told me. David nods. I didn't know what else to do. Can I? Emma hesitates. Can I read them? Not now, not today, but someday. David's eyes fill with tears. I'd like that. Emma looks between us, me and David, the two men who both lost time with her, the two men who both loved her from a distance. I don't know how this works, she says. I don't know what we're supposed to be to each other, but maybe we can figure it out. David looks at me. I nod. I'd like that too, David says. The verdict comes 3 days later. The courtroom is packed. Word spread through our small community. This isn't just a divorce trial anymore. It's a referendum on truth, on family, on what we owe each other. The judge is older, a woman who's been on the bench for 30 years, Judge Maria Blackwell. She has a reputation for being fair, but firm. No nonsense. She spent 2 hours reviewing the evidence before calling us back into the courtroom. Catherine sits at the defendant's table, hands folded. She looks smaller than I remember, diminished. Judge Blackwell looks at her for a long moment before speaking. "Mrs. Miller," she says, "I've been presiding over family court for 3 decades. I've seen adultery. I've seen financial disputes. I've seen custody battles that would break your heart. But I have never seen a case quite like this." She picks up the evidence folder. "You didn't just commit adultery. You orchestrated a 30-year deception involving multiple parties, including your husband, your daughter, and at least one other man who believed himself to be your child's father. You embezzled from joint marital assets and your husband's business. You accepted child support under false pretenses. You filed false tax returns. And when you finally ordered a paternity test, you did so not to pursue truth, but to protect yourself." Catherine's lawyer stands. "Your Honor, my client was trapped in a difficult situation." "Sit down, counselor," Judge Blackwell says quietly. "Your client wasn't trapped. She was calculating. The evidence shows years of deliberate deception, systematic theft, and manipulation of multiple people's lives." She looks at the courtroom, at me, at Emma, at David Morrison in the gallery. "Mrs. Miller, you defrauded not just your husband, but your daughter's biological father and the court itself. You stole money, you stole time, you stole truth, and you did it all while presenting yourself as a devoted wife and mother." The judge picks up her gavel, but doesn't strike it yet. "Here's what I'm ordering. Full financial restitution to Robert Miller in the amount of $340,000 to be paid from your separate assets. You will also return all payments received from David Morrison, $168,000 with interest. The marital home will be awarded to Robert Miller. You will retain your business, but 50% of its equity will be transferred to Robert as part of the divorce settlement." Catherine's face is white. "Additionally, you will prepare a written apology to both Robert Miller and David Morrison to be filed with this court and provided to both men. You will attend financial counseling for a minimum of 2 years, and you will serve 3 years of probation, during which any violation of the terms of this settlement will result in criminal prosecution for fraud." Judge Blackwell looks directly at Catherine. "I'm not sending you to prison, Mrs. Miller, not because you don't deserve it, but because your daughter asked me not to." Emma Miller spoke eloquently about the complexity of family, about love and choice, and the difference between justice and revenge. "I'm honoring her wishes." She pauses. "But make no mistake, this is not forgiveness. This is accountability. You will spend the next several years repaying the people you harmed, both financially and morally, and you will do so knowing that your daughter, your ex-husband, and this court will be watching." The gavel falls. No prison, no public humiliation campaign, no revenge, just accountability. Outside the courthouse, reporters are waiting. I make a brief statement. Emma and I prepared it together. "Today the court recognized that family is built on truth and choice, not biology and deception. My daughter Emma is my daughter, regardless of genetics. David Morrison deserves acknowledgement as her biological father, and Catherine Miller has been held accountable for 30 years of fraud and deception." I pause. Choose my next words carefully. This wasn't about revenge. It was about ensuring that lies have consequences and truth has meaning. I'm grateful to the court for seeing the difference. Emma stands beside me, takes my hand, faces the cameras. "I want to say one thing," she says. "My father, Robert Miller, raised me, loved me, chose me every single day. Biology doesn't make a family. Choice does. Love does. Showing up does." She looks at me. "And that's what he did. He showed up." Emma asked me to share something with you. She said, "Tell them that the family you choose can be stronger than the one you're born into. If you have someone in your life who chose you, not because they had to, but because they wanted to, let them know. Tag them. Share this story. Tell them they matter." 18 months later, Emma calls me. "Dad," she says, "can you come over? Mark and I want to talk to you about something." I drive to their house. The the little Cape Cod they bought after the wedding, yellow with white trim, exactly what Emma always dreamed of. There are balloons on the mailbox. Inside, Emma is glowing, Mark is grinning, and sitting on the couch, looking nervous and honored in equal measure, is David Morrison. "We're having a baby," Emma announces. I freeze. Then I start crying. Happy tears, overwhelming tears. I pull Emma into a hug. "I'm going to be a grandfather," I say. "Yeah, you are," Emma says, laughing and crying. "And we wanted to tell you together, you and David." She looks at David, who's standing now, hands in his pockets, emotional, but trying to hold it together. "David, you're going to be a grandfather too," Emma says. "I know this is complicated. I know we're still figuring out what our relationship looks like. But you're my biological father, and that matters. Not more than what Dad and I have. Nothing could matter more than that. But it matters." David's voice breaks. "I'd be honored." Emma pulls something out from behind the couch. A frame. Inside is the drawing. "My dad is the best," with the purple crayon hearts. "I had this frame for the nursery," she says, "because I want my kid to know that family isn't just about blood. It's about the people who stay, the people who choose you." She pulls out another frame. Inside, a photograph from last month, Emma's baby shower. David and I stand on either side of Emma, each of us with a hand on her shoulder. We're smiling, all three of us. It's not forced, it's not fake, it's real. "I want them to know they have two grandfathers," Emma says, "one who raised their mom, one who wanted to but couldn't, both of whom love them already." She puts both frames side by side. The crayon drawing from 28 years ago. The photograph from last month. "That's the story I want to tell them," Emma says. "Not about lies and betrayal, about choice, about forgiveness, about making room for people who deserve to be there." The baby shower is small. Close friends, family, Mark's parents, my sister. A few of Emma's college friends, and David Morrison, who brought a wooden rocking horse he built himself. "I'm an architect," he explains sheepishly. "But I wanted to make something with my hands, something that would last." The rocking horse is beautiful. Smooth wood, careful joints, a mane made of real rope. He carved Emma's baby's name into the side, the name she and Mark chose, Maya Rose. "Rose was my mother's name," David says quietly. "If that's okay?" Emma touches the carving. It's perfect. At one point during the shower, I find myself standing in the nursery with David. Emma's been decorating for weeks. The walls are painted soft yellow. There's a crib, a changing table, a bookshelf already full of children's books. And on the wall, the two frames, the crayon drawing, and the photograph. "Thank you," David says suddenly. "For what?" "For raising her. For being her father. For not shutting me out when you had every right to." He looks at me. I think about all the time I lost, all the moments I missed. And then I think about how you were there for every single one of those moments. You gave her something I couldn't, and now you're letting me be part of her future. That's generous. "It's not generosity," I say. "It's just the right thing. Emma deserves to know you. Maya deserves to know both her grandfathers. And you deserve to be here." We stand in silence, two men who should have been enemies, looking at the nursery of a child who will connect us forever. "She chose deception every day," I say quietly. "Catherine, for 30 years she chose lies, but we get to choose something different. We get to choose truth, and family, and showing up." David nods. "Yeah, we do." The party winds down. Emma cuts the cake, 3 layers, pink and white, decorated with tiny baby shoes. The photographer asks for a picture of the grandparents. David and I look at each other. Then we move to stand on either side of Emma. Mark joins us. Emma puts one hand on my shoulder, one hand on David's. "My family," she says simply. The photographer counts down. 3, 2, 1, click. That night, after everyone leaves, Emma asks me to stay for a minute. She hands me something, a piece of construction paper folded in half. Purple crayon. I open it. Inside is a drawing, clearly made by Emma. Her adult handwriting guides the shapes, but it's deliberately childlike. Crayon hearts around the border, just like the original. In the center, 2 stick figures holding hands with a smaller stick figure between them. Above it, in careful letters, "Grandpa Robert and Grandpa David, the best." "I made this today. Emma says. For Maya's room, so she'll know her story from the beginning. I can barely speak. Emma, you said it yourself, Dad. Biology just caught up to the truth 30 years late. But the truth is this. I have two fathers, one who raised me, one who wanted to, both of whom chose to love me when they could have chosen bitterness, both of whom are showing me what family really means. She hugs me tightly. Thank you for being my dad. Thank you for staying. Thank you for making room. Thank you for choosing me back, I whisper. I drive home that night with the new drawing on the passenger seat. The streets are quiet. The moon is full. I think about the man I was 18 months ago, standing in my bedroom, holding a paternity test that destroyed everything I thought I knew. I think about the choice I had to make, revenge or justice, bitterness or grace, closing doors or opening them. Someone asked me recently if I regret raising a daughter who wasn't mine. I told them she's always been mine. Biology just caught up to the truth 30 years late. I told them that fatherhood isn't about who you share DNA with. It's about who you choose to love every single day, who you choose to show up for, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Catherine chose deception every day for 30 years. I chose Emma. David chose Emma, even from a distance. And now Emma is choosing both of us, making room in her life, in her family, for two men who both love her. Two men who could have been enemies, but chose to be something better. That's not biology, that's grace. I get home, pour a drink, sit in my study where this all started, where I first read through the Baby album and tried to make sense of a lie that lasted 3 decades. The album is still on the shelf. I pull it down. Open it to the first page. Robert and his little girl, instant love, Catherine's handwriting, Catherine's lie. But the photo is true. The look on my face as I hold newborn Emma is pure love, pure commitment, pure choice. I flip through the pages one more time. Every milestone, every moment, a father loving his daughter. That's true. That will always be true. Biology didn't make me Emma's father. Choice did. Love did. 30 years of showing up did. And now I get to do it all over again with Maya. Get to teach another little girl to ride a bike, to believe in herself, to know she's loved completely. This time with David beside me. Both of us choosing to show up. Both of us choosing family over bitterness. Both of us choosing the kind of men we want to be. I close the album, put it back on the shelf. Tomorrow I'll order a new one. For Maya, for the next chapter. And this time, the first page will tell the truth. That family is who we choose. That love is stronger than genetics. That the bonds we build matter more than the blood we're born with. We both chose each other every day. Biology just caught up to the truth 30 years late.